Hello everyone. Today we are going to make this belly band, which has a big long one here and then has two smaller ones in the top part of it. I believe that's how Lisa's is with the double parts. I'm going to put in my elastics for holding my folders, some of which we made last time. I did go ahead and put mine through to the outside. So these little bits show. It does give me something if I want to hang something on it, or just in general, I was okay with that. They're actually kind of glued right now to get them dry, to make sure the knots stay in. But then we're going to make two folders. This one has sort of like a tablet and a double pocket. Let's use this. So this pocket can go like this. Alright, and that folder can be put in here just like so. And then the other one is where I used the full length of the folder, folded it over. I've got a big long pocket, and then it's got a sewn in signature, very much like a normal little journal. So that's what we're going to work on today. I hope you enjoy it. Have fun watching. Okay, I had already cut and covered my little folders with my collaged book pages. I just had to finish up the last folder. I didn't cover totally the inside because I knew I was going to put that pocket over it. Here I'm just trimming off where I had the other side. So, I guess I needed to ink all of the edges. I finally did have to get a new squashy foam pad for my dauber because it wasn't picking up any ink anymore. So this is where I'm going to do the full journal, and all I'm doing here is creating a pocket with the extra space. Now I had used legal size file folders, and that gave me that fold over area so that I could make it into a pocket. I made it into a pocket on one of the other ones too. I always use a combination of glue and tape when I'm making something heavy duty like this. The tape holds it in place. The glue keeps your things from sticking to it, adds dimension. Now that's wax linen, and I'm going to take out about 3 links. I'm just going to sew my signature in with a standard 3-hole pamphlet stitch. Here I am figuring out the holes, and that is a Fiskars centering ruler. It has 0 in the middle, and it goes out from 0, and I love it. I use that thing a lot. It's about 14 inches long. Most of the books I make are smaller than that, so it works real well. And I didn't even get out the phone book for the cover, but then I went back. Now, the trick to using the centering ruler is to put the holes in your cover and then put the holes in your signature both in the same spot. I don't try to get all the way through the signature and the cover at the same time. I personally get a cleaner line of holes and everything if I do it separately. So, and I tend to not use a clamp because using a clip or a clamp seems to cause an issue for me. With 3-hole pamphlet stitch, you start in the middle, you go to one end or the other and come back in. Then you take your thread all the way down to the other end, go out. With wax linen, this is really easy to do. It's easy to keep it snug. It's easy to keep it tied. Just checking my tension. See how quick and easy that was? Of course, I have sped up the video. I didn't think you needed to watch another 2 hours of video. So that one's all done. And now I'm going to work on the other one. This one I'm going to make a pocket. And see, I didn't cover the whole thing with the collage because I knew I wanted to have just the pocket laying over it. There was no need. And I had covered sheets of cardstock with my collage bits. It just made life easier if I did it ahead of time and then cut it out rather than trying to collage each and every pocket every time. A couple of times I used up scraps to make pockets. In my last video, I did that. I did find that this new corner rounder, which is a We Are Memories Keeper corner rounder, does go through a lot heavier stuff than my old corner rounders did. I think I told you last time that I have broken 2 of the small corner rounders, and it's probably the fact that I am trying to punch something too heavy, so I just end up breaking them. I accidentally put the marks on the wrong side, so I had to transfer the marks to the other side. I wanted to make the little thumb spots in my piece. And once again, we are inking. I think the inking really gives a lot of definition to this. Now, I haven't done any decorating yet. I guess you could call the collaging of the book pages decorating. But I am going to decorate with a few images after I finish it all up. I just didn't want to try to decorate as I went. I wanted to see where everything was situated and that kind of thing. The collage in itself is a big part of the decoration. So now this is double pocket, so I'm going to put a line of tape right down the middle. And I had marked that ahead of time when I was marking for everything else. The one thing you want to learn, you want to remember, not learn, but you want to remember about a double pocket like that where you've put tape down along the center is to make sure you put glue on both sides of that tape line. And I apologize if you can hear my phone. I put it in the other room, but it seems to be going off this morning. The other thing you want to do is try to burnish your tape and glue down. For some reason, I had a little piece of my collage paper lifting up right there. So I did have a few places missed. I have done a lot of collaging with book paper lately. And I just stapled my pad of paper together. Now this is just a little leftover piece of the collaged cardstock. What I'm going to do is make it this just a touch. I mean by maybe 1/16 of an inch bigger across the top. And then I just used my cutter ruler to fold it. And I realized after I folded it once that I wanted another little tiny 1/8 inch sort of spine in it. So I just moved the paper over and created that little 1/8 inch spine. See there? That is about how much paper I have in the pad. And I'm just gonna, I forgot to ink it. I have to tell you, I forgot to ink. That's the first time I think I've forgotten to ink something. Made me really grumpy. Excuse me. So that piece that I made to lay over the top, it's longer in the back, and I felt like that would help to hold the paper on just a little bit. What I'm doing is I'm wrapping the top of the paper pad with that little bit of cover. It just covers up the staples. It gives you something to nail to the, or nail, glue to the actual folder. And I've made paper pads like this before with a full length back piece on it. This one I just wanted to have, I'm going to glue down to that folder, so it's fine without that. I realized I had forgotten to ink it, so I'm going in with the ink and I'm just kind of working on the edge of it. It came out fine. It was not a big deal. Now I'm going to glue the back of the paper pad down. And with that art glitter glue, you don't have to have a lot of glue. It works pretty well. It went down a little crooked. I wasn't happy with it. Luckily, I hadn't pushed. So there we go. So now I have two folders that have paper in them. One has a pad, one has a little signature. And now it is time to put the holes in my spine for my elastic. I'm going to tell you that this did not go as easily as I had hoped. In making that spine, I put four pieces of cardboard, like cereal box cardboard, together with glue to create the spine. So it's very thick. It's actually thicker than the book board was, which I hadn't realized ahead of time when I was working on it, but you know, you start to feel it, and I had a feeling these were going to be a little difficult to do. So here I am marking. I need 4 holes top and bottom. I don't want them too close to the edge because I know I already have things in there. The way they're going to go into the inside of my, when the LapBook's all folded up, they're going to rest inside the 2 covers. So here I am trying to get them all sorted out. And I've got 4 on each side. They look pretty good. I'm happy with them. Now I go to use my big bite, and I'm trying to punch the holes. Now I'm going to tell you what happened was I decided that it was not going to go through there. Nothing I did. First off, I could barely see it. That's how thick it is. I could barely see when the punch actually came down. So I continued with the big bite because I knew that having the holes in there, that the holes would act as a guide, and they're not really holes. What they are is indentations of where the punch tried to go through. So it's not going all the way through. And you have to also realize that I have got several layers of paper with Mod Podge on it in there. So by having the holes started with the big bite, the Dremel went right through there. So that was my plan. Now I'm having to get this elastic cord through those holes. Well, that wasn't working real well. So I have a really good tip for how to get that through there. I took a piece of my wax linen, just a scrap, and the 2 ends will go right through the hole, and then it makes a loop. So then you put your heavier cord, which isn't going to go through a needle, through there and pull it, and it goes right through the hole. And here's another view so that you can kind of see how it goes. You can also use like a dental floss threader or something like that. Thread, whatever you use. It's just, the matter is that you have a loop of something smaller. I just grabbed up a scrap piece of the wax linen to do it. It worked real well for me, and I've done that before. It just saved me a lot of time trying to fight with that. Now I wanted my elastics pretty snug, but I don't want them so tight that I can't get my folders in and out. I tied a square knot, and then I went back and tied a half hitch in each one of the ends, and then I've glued it. Once that glue dried on that side, I flipped it over sort of and put glue on the other side. Now I have 4, and I have found that some things will pull on that elastic more than others, so it is better that I have 2 elastics. It just seems to work better than to try to run the whole thing with 4, and I have run the whole thing with 4 before, and just had one elastic band. I've just found that 2 is a wiser choice. It's easier to replace if they stretch out, that kind of thing. Tying a square knot in elastic is a little more difficult. You have to figure out how to hold that knot with your finger as you tie your other fingers. So I'm just tying the square knot and the half hitches in there, and I'm going to put the glue on it. And now we're going to work on the belly band. Now all the belly band is just a long strip of paper. I had some scraps and I thought, oh, those will work, but they were a touch too short, and I decided I really wanted them to be full length. So the bottom one, um, the longest, largest piece, I decided I would go ahead and cut out of a new sheet. That way I have full length piece. The 2-inch wide band was fine with me. The scrap was, it just was a little too short. Now I did use one of the scraps as the top layer. So there's my new belly band that I'm going to work with. And then that piece I'm going to use as my top layer. And what I'm doing is measuring it because I'm going to back it with that craft cardstock. I just wanted to separate it from the bottom layer just a little bit, give it a little bit of visual interest. And I'm just checking, make sure I got a nice edge all the way around, not too big, not too little. This corner rounder is a little harder to use than the little one. It's hard on my hand. I will probably replace my little one for lighter weight things and just try to remember to grab this one for heavier things. I thought it came out looking pretty good, but once again, we have to ink stuff. I think I finally replaced, yep, this is where I went in and I replaced my silly foam pad. I hadn't wanted to because I thought if I could last through the project with the other one, that stays on ink. The solvent in it does eat the foam pads pretty bad. Apparently that corner wasn't rounded very nicely, so I went back in. But I will tell you, having a new foam pad on my dauber really made a difference as far as inking. It was a lot easier and faster. This LapBook project's been a lot of fun. I'm really glad Lisa has decided to do it, and I'm glad she didn't mind that I did a video along with her. Not all my parts and pieces are the same because my books aren't the same, but I've tried to do most of what she's done, which is a lot of fun. You will find a link to her videos down in the description box. She has a playlist of all her LapBook videos. Okay, so I'm just finding the middle because the top, this piece is actually going to be 2 belly bands so that it's got like 2 small spaces to pop things into. And I'm just doing my same thing using the tape and the the glue combination. The craft cardstock apparently decided to lift up with the tape a little bit, so I ended up having to put glue under the tape, but the tape will hold and it'll be fine. Again, if you put something in the middle, make sure that you use glue on both sides. And I'm just putting on tape and glue combination. And we're about to finish up. I think I have about one more project, but the more I look at this silly lapbook, the more I think the inside of those book pages, those book covers should have had something on them. So I haven't decided yet. I might be going to add something else.